Welcome into another episode of Board Talk. I'm here with my friend Nash and his sidekick, Peanut. Nash, how are you this fine evening?
I'm good. I'm good, Phil. Thanks for having me here. I've brought Peanut with me. Can't wait to dive in and talk shop.
100%. So Nash, naturally, if people know you, they know you're a mutant, they know Peanut, and they definitely know the NFT show that you host on Fridays. Can you talk about kind of what do you find beneficial with hosting Twitter Spaces and kind of the community that you've built with the NFT show?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so you've caught me at my kind of usual hour where I sit at my laptop and I'm looking through NFT news and scrolling through OpenSea. And in the past, I've had so many questions and kind of theories and thoughts that have been provoked through going through this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here with, sipping on my NFT, doing this, and it's a ritual that I do pretty much most evenings. And then one day I had this light bulb moment where I thought, hold on, why don't I set up a spaces and see if anyone jumps in and maybe some of these questions that I have, I can talk through with someone from the community and see where that goes. And it kind of started from there, and slowly more and more people started dripping into the spaces. And then before you knew it, I thought, okay, I'll do this as a weekly thing. And then it's grown into the NFT show as it is. And to be honest, I pinch myself every week and I think, why do so many people tune into the NFT show? And they do. So so as long as people are listening, I'll carry on doing it.
It's kind of a crazy phenomenon when you really think about it, is the rise up of Twitter Spaces and how easy it is to connect with people from around the world and have legitimate conversations. I worked in radio a long time ago, and it feels like a much cooler open mic, like radio session where you can call in and get on the line. But this is much more because you can bring up obviously guests, you can have co-hosts, and you can have real discussion with people. And what's also dope is they can message you even if they can't get on a mic. So you're able to really drive, answer questions, drive conversation. And I guess for me, it's like you're really building a community. And I've seen that as a friend and as someone who's listened to your show a number of times. Like I can tell that people care about showing up and giving input and, again, growing the community. So, is Twitter, is this something that you've always loved? Is, NFTs? Can you kind of take us back a little bit? What's the history of Nash and NFTs and crypto, and kind of how did you make your way into the swamp, and how did you get that lovely coat of Peanut?
Yeah, so I've dabbled in crypto for a while now, but it was usually more passive, kind of just investing and just sitting on it, not really kind of actively being involved in any communities or doing any kind of narratives in terms of Twitter Spaces and being involved on crypto Twitter. It was only when NFTs really started to take off, and I actually came across NFTs through a Gary V podcast, and it kind of stroked my curiosity, and I thought, okay, let's have a look into this and see what's going on. Why the hell are people paying so much for these monkey JPEGs? So I decided to dip my toe, and then did a little bit of research, and it was just around the time where we started getting a little bit of information about this project, this ambitious project that Yuga Labs are starting to plan, called The Other Side. And that was kind of my first dive into NFTs, really. And the thing that attracted me about The Other Side was because it was a game that was being built where you will be able to own the game assets. And kind of being someone that grew up playing games, that concept really struck me. And in terms of how Peanut came into my life, I was lucky enough to have minted Peanut in The Other Side. So those of you that were part of the minting experience will probably still be recovering from literally the trauma of that minting experience. But um, a few days later, the other deed revealed, and Peanut was sitting there on my deed waiting for me. So yeah, I think it was fate.
That is fate. And so that's interesting. I don't actually know if I knew that start of you and Otherside, but I've heard a number of people on the timeline on Spaces that say, "Oh, gamers, they hate NFTs. They're never going to come here. They don't get it. They think they're lame." So, what would you say to those people that now you're saying that you've always enjoyed games? What was it that made sense to you that so many people think gamers are out on? Why is that a sentiment that's being shared a lot?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been a collector of various things throughout my life, and one of the things that I've always collected was games. And now you can quite easily download and buy games in their digital format. But when I grew up, you were buying cartridges, or you were buying CDs, and even Blu-rays. So I've got this huge collection of these games that I've accrued over the years of gaming on various consoles. But what I've progressed through in that game, or the character that I've kind of built by playing in this game and progressing through and leveling up, is stuck in that game. And when the next iteration of this game comes out, you may even be playing with the same character in terms of design, but you start from scratch and you have to level that character back up. It was the idea that you could own a character, and what you do with that character will stay persistent in that game, and you can transfer that character from that game to multiple other games. And that concept really hit home with me, and that was one of the reasons why I really connected with my coder Peanut straight away, because I thought, not only is this going to be an in-game character that I can choose and play with, but what I do with this character, what I build around this character, I'll be able to transfer from the other side into multiple other metaverses. And that was one of the things that really kind of hit home. And I think it's still kind of in the concept phase, but I think that once this goes out and gamers start to see this as a proof of concept and see it work, I do think that a lot of gamers are going to come flooding into this.
No, that makes sense. I'm a collector. I've not been of games, but I think what made NFTs click for me was I'm a big sports fan. Love basketball, football, baseball primarily, but I've always, like, for as long as I can remember, I'd collect autographs if I could get my hands on them, sports cards, and I'd get them graded. And I have entirely too many like shoe boxes filled with them. But I understood like the keepsake and the value of those collectible items. And so NFTs for me was just like another thing to collect. So that makes sense where you're saying, obviously in the gaming world, you're still collecting. It was still something that you enjoyed doing. And so you talk about taking assets, taking characters across games. I think that's one thing that has really been awesome, cool to hear Improbable talk about their technology. And that's the technology that is behind the other side. And so can you kind of talk about your experience with the different demos that have Improbable has done? And I don't remember if you made it onto the first or second trip, or maybe both, but what has your experience been with the technology of Improbable specifically? And how do you see that playing in the other side, and also with all these other metaverses that I'm sure are coming?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so you're right. There's two sides to the other side. One is the other side platform, and then the second side will be the other side game. And Improbable have provided the technology that the other side is being built on. And some of this technology is revolutionary. We've not seen it used in games so far. At this point, you can have thousands of players rendered in one space at one time, interacting, and then you've got the spatial audio system that the Improbable incorporates, that allows you to feel like you're immersed amongst the crowd. And it's been great. I think in terms of the first trip and the second trip, my takeaway from that was more from the social side of things. So
Yeah.
we're all part of this community, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Other Side community. We speak on Twitter Spaces all the time. We're in Discord. We're communicating on Twitter. And then to be in this virtual space where you are running around and then you see people that you interact with on Discord and Twitter on a day-to-day basis, and you can then go and run off and kind of share this virtual experience, was unreal.
Yeah.
And it was almost as good as meeting that person and being with them in real life.
I think that's actually something that's interesting as well, because people maybe want to push back on this, but the digital world is becoming more and more at our fingertips, and the things that you're going to be able to do it's just expanding at like such a rapid rate that what you just said, like meeting someone in the digital world is going to feel as normal and as good as maybe having a coffee with them here pretty soon. Because I know for me, at least, in NFTs, with so many people are anonymous, especially at the beginning of 2021, and just dabbling into NBA Top Shot, and then obviously the Yacht Club. I didn't even know what these people look like, but I felt like they were some of my best friends just because I had talked to them. And like you said, we were on Twitter Spaces entirely too much. We were in the Discord, shooting the shit. And at the end of the day, it was like, I felt like I could have grown up with them. And so I think what metaverse will do, at least in my opinion, I'd love to hear your take too, is that allowing us to experience things easier with more people, literally daily. Like if you want to experience it with whoever, pretty soon you're going to be able to do that. And not just another side, but obviously for this talk and what you're doing with P-nut and obviously Nash, the mutant and the human, why is Otherside and what Yuga is building with their lore, why is that exciting to you and all these experiences that we're about to have here, really probably starting, within the next few months, I would think?
Yeah, for sure. I think Yuga have done an absolutely incredible job in storytelling. They've taken the static JPEG characters, the apes, mutants, coders, and they've given them personalities, and they've kind of breathed life into them, and that's something that I really enjoy. So I enjoy the fact that they've given these PFPs some level of personality, and you're a member of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and kind of the vibe of the community and the vibe of the club, and it's the same for the coders as well. But then they've also left some level of mystery, and that allows the community to be able to take their own apes and take their own coders and create their own characters with them, and use the IP to build out their own kind of tail off story, and then build their own characters and build their own games, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy about what Yuga has done, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy being a part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club and having P-nut.
I think one thing that Yuga has said from the jump is how important the use of IP and the ability to use that IP is something that they want to see across all their different collections. And so you've seen a number of different products spin up from Bored Apes, Mutant Apes. You see some Coda stuff too. I've seen Coda Hot Honey, I think, was one of the things that's like at the front of my mind. I've seen that a number of different places, but I think it is amazing that they were able to leave space. They didn't take up all the air in the room and not allow creativity to reign supreme, because at the end of the day, they're writers, they're creatives themselves. And so I think they understood the need for us as people that are owning these assets to be able to have a little bit of runway too. So if we want to develop a storyline, if we want to create a game, if we want to spin up a restaurant, a bar, whatever it is, we can do that, and we can kind of create our own story or our own lore that doesn't detract from the yacht club and the swamp. It actually adds to it. It's like a perfect meal at dinner time is what I would say. And so with IP, obviously you've named your coda. That is more than a lot of people do with their assets. So many people are just blur farming nowadays. They're just flipping everything. Names don't matter. P-nut, what are you or trying to, or what have you built with P-nut with IP? Do you have big plans for him as a character? And maybe, what does that, how does that tie in with the other side as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so yeah, it's just going back. I named Peanut because I knew that he was going to be a game asset, and eventually we're going to be running around on the other side. And when I first minted Peanut, I kind of said to myself, I want to give this guy some character. I want him to be a household name in the other side. So I want, when I'm playing on the other side, I want people to be able to see Peanut running around and be able to recognize him and say, that's Peanut. Let's go and see what he's up to. And I've just taken it from there and just had fun. Really, I've not really sat here and I didn't start off with a plan that this is where I want to see Peanut go. I just thought, I've minted this plot of land on this metaverse. It's come with this coda. I want to give it a character, and I want to build on this character, and then see where it goes, and just have fun with it. And that's the thing that I would probably advise most people to do is the NFT space. It's a place where you should be having fun. Being a mutant, being a bored ape, you can't take things too seriously. And when it comes to building on your IP, have fun with it. You don't have to automatically have this great business plan that you see your IP plastered on so many products, and you've got to have this business idea. Just build around your IP, create a character, start to build a narrative for your character, and then things will start to fall into place. And that's basically what I've done. And when I first saw coders, I always saw them as a companion, which is why you'll see in my bio on Twitter that it's always been Nash and his coder P-nut. And that's how I've envisioned myself on the other side. I've always thought I'll be running around on the other side, and this little chubby character is going to be running around with me. And I've kind of just taken that and kind of built on that, really. In terms of where I'll see Peanut in the future, you'll definitely see him in the other side running around with me whilst I'm raiding lands and doing all sorts of craziness on the other side. And then I do want to build his IP beyond that. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, Peanut at the moment, he has his own Twitter page. I've created multiple kind of derivatives using Peanut. I don't know if you can see this, Phil, but he's sitting on my shoulder at the moment as an AR filter.
Yeah, for sure. We can see it. Yep.
Yeah. So I do want to start building things out with him. But we'll see. You'll definitely see him on the other side with me.
I love that, and I would agree too. Is not feeling pressured. I think the space should be fun. It's actually where I'm going to take these last couple of questions as we wrap this amazing conversation up is about the fun of the space, because I think there's too many times where people are focused too much on number go down or up rather than what can we do together? How can this be a community building opportunity, and what amazing experiences and games we're going to have here over the next few weeks, few months, few years. I mean, that's the way I look at it, or at least try to. So with Otherside, with your plots, are you wanting to build out on them? Or are you kind of a wait and see? Do you want to see what Yuga has first, and then maybe adjust your plans as we go?
Yeah, for sure. I think in terms of the other side, we're still very early. We don't know all the details about the game mechanics. We don't know all the details about the ODK and how we can build on the other side. I've picked up a a few plots that I do want to build out certain narratives. So I've built out, I've picked a plot that I do want to build out Peanut's home on. And I've started drafting a backstory for Peanut and you know his origin and where he fits into the other side. So that's something that you guys will definitely be filled in on in the near future. And I've done something similar for my mutant too. So you know, I am going to be building out a little base for my mutant, and then the other assets that I've kind of accrued from the other side are going to be more tailored towards kind of game mechanics and you know, gearing up to being able to play the game and kind of position myself so that I can do well enough in the game. Um, yeah, so we've got the Legends of the Mara that we're anticipating starting anytime soon. We're being drip fed some of the game mechanics there, and we're having fun speculating on game strategies and how these different pieces are going to fit into that game. So it's just a case of trying to position myself so that I give myself a semi decent chance against some of the gamers that will probably jump in and and literally obliterate the
some of
leaderboards.
some of the whales too. I could imagine some of these people with just gobs of codas just destroying me instantly. But nonetheless, I will attempt to defend my honor, I guess. So you mentioned Legend of the Mara, and that's something that I know I'm and many others are super excited about because it is a game and it's something that it's going to be a long-term game and it's going to be a way to not even just tide us over. I think it'll be something that people are really invested in. You could have conversations. You know, we talked about Twitter Spaces earlier in this conversation. I think you're going to see a million Twitter Spaces spun up talking Legend of the Mara, talking heavy metals, and that's kind of where I want to go next. Heavy metal. So we got the video trailer yesterday of a little bit of a sneak peek, a little bit more of a sneak peek of what this potentially is. Obviously, we have these heavy metals, these little robot entities, and they're going to turn into a much bigger robot entity at some point. What is your takeaway from the trailer that we got yesterday from Yuga Labs with heavy metal?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I'm really excited to jump into the game. It's very different to Dookie Dash. Very different style of game. Seems like it's going to be a little bit more slow paced, a little bit more strategy, which will suit me a little bit better with my old man reflexes. Dookie Dash was tough, required really fast twitch reflexes, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to taking my heavy metal and evolving it into its next phase. It's been a really fun experience seeing what Yuga are doing, experimenting with dynamic NFTs. And I wrote a little article about this earlier on in the week about how Yuga have slowly started to kind of mold us into seeing NFTs in a different light. So rather than seeing them as kind of art and PFPs, but seeing them more as these gaming NFTs that evolve through game interactions. And the heavy metal is a perfect example of that. And like you rightly mentioned, we started off with this sewer pass that we were able to claim as being part of the yacht club that allowed us to play Dookie Dash. And depending on how well you did in Dookie Dash, you received a power source, which fell into one of 5 categories, depending on your rank, and then that then revealed your heavy one. And then based on how well you do in the Forge, which is the next phase of the heavy metal games, that will then determine the type of Evo 2 that you get. So so it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun playing the game, and then it's also going to be fun seeing how my Evo 1 then evolves into the Evo 2 and then the Evo 3 at the next stage as well.
No, I think that's wonderful, and I'll attest to also having the old man reflexes. Where Dookie Dash was fun. Don't get me wrong. I played it probably more than I even imagined I would, and I spent entirely too much ape,
Yeah.
pretending like that would matter. But I am also pleasantly surprised / happy that I will not have to have. Like, I bought a freaking gaming mouse for Dookie Dash. I'm
Dude.
really glad that I'm not having to use those muscles for this one.
Absolutely. And I'm like you, Phil. I was adamant that I wanted to play this game myself, and and then kind of enjoy the spoils of my own hard labor. So yeah. So I think you're right. And like you said, you know, it creates that sentimental value to your NFTs that makes you want to then start building with the IP, because you have a different connection to the NFT than just kind of an investment, really.
Yeah.
No,
I agree completely. And that's, again, I'm also that person that I'll keep playing the games myself, and I'm competitive. I'm not gonna lay down, but you will not see me paying anyone to rock any of my game assets. I'm gonna get what I get, and then, like you said, I'm gonna fall in love with it probably even more just because I did it. I earned it, whatever that is that I earned. So as we wrap it up, I've got a couple questions and another point out here for people. If you haven't yet, you should always on Fridays tune in with Nash and P-nut with the NFT show. It comes in on 4 p.m. Eastern Standard for those of us in the States. If you're across the pond, is it 9 p.m. for you? Is that local time for you?
That's right. Yeah, 9 p.m. UK time.
Yeah, for sure. So again, it's a great time. If you ask me, it's perfect time. A lot of us are getting off work or off work. I know for me, it's summertime as a teacher. There's no reason not to catch a little bit of that conversation on Otherside and what Nash and P-nut have cooking up. And the last question I have for you, and it had to be this one: what the fuck is a coda?
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for this answer for over 12 months now, being a coder, an OG coder holder. But according to the CEO of Yuga Labs, a coder is something you must have. And I agree with his sentiment. That might not be because of them being an OP in-game asset, but I just think that diving into the other side, being in possession of a coda is just going to be, you know, a lot more fun than being without one. And I'm really looking forward to jumping into the other side and finding out exactly what coders do. Hopefully, we'll be finding out soon in Legends of the Mara. But yeah, I'll definitely be holding on to mine and seeing what that is. But
Hold on dearly.
Yeah, for sure.
At this point, that's all we know, and that's okay. That's okay. That's part of what makes Yuga what it is it is mysterious at times. Don't get me wrong. As a day one holder of Bored Apes, there's times where I'm like, can you just give me a little bit more? But I think that's probably why we're all obsessed about it and talking about it. It seems like multiple hours a day. So again, Nash, P-nut, I want to thank you for coming on Board Talk. Again, check out the show every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, the NFT show with Nash and P-nut. Thanks again, Nash, and we'll talk soon.
Phil, thank you very much for having me on the show. It's been an absolute privilege and honor to be on the show. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing more episodes in the future.
Appreciate you, Nash.